afternoon, welcome to ParkTrent. Once again, thank you for tuning in to our webinar, and today we have a very special product to talk to you about. And I must apologize first for, because we were expecting the marketing manager for the developer to be along, Stephanie, and Stephanie unfortunately is ill in bed with the flu. So Stephanie, if you're tuned into our webinar today, it's your webinar. I wish you well and hope to see you soon. But anyway, we can carry on without you, Stephanie. We'll do a good job, I'm sure, because you've done a good job in presenting a wonderful product for us, fabulous pricing, and most importantly, in a superb location. So the product I want to talk to you about today is Patch. Patch is a development in the outer city of Fitzroy in Melbourne, which is a raging part of suburb of Melbourne. It's similar to Chatswood in Sydney. It's 9 kilometres from the CBD of Melbourne, and as I say, it's a wonderful development sitting right between parks and transport hubs and schools and universities. It's a wonderful development. Now, there's only 12 apartments left in this building, and they're fabulously priced, and wonderful incentive program we're going to mention for you today. So what I'd like to get from you is as many questions as we possibly can, so I can share with you this wonderful opportunity to become involved in a great investment. And if not only an investment, possibly for the first home buyers out there that are looking to buy their first apartment and become involved in the marketplace as far as property goes. Because once you become a property owner, you then can enjoy the future capital growth of that property, and that can leverage you into a more expensive property sometime in the future, and as your family grows, more bedrooms, etc., that we've all experienced. Now, what we have here today is a wonderful property in Fitzroy, North Fitzroy, which is an upmarket suburb, as we've spoken about. It's just absolutely wonderful. It's surrounded by parks and gardens. You've got the tram right at your doorstep. Now, there's 1 bedrooms in there, large size 1 bedrooms with car parks, and there's also 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms with car parks, and each apartment has a storage facility as well. And the pricing starts at $415,000, $420,000, and goes up for a quality 2-bedroom apartment just over the $600,000. And what we've done today and negotiated with the developer and Stephanie and her team there at Goldfields, we've been able to put together a package where we'll contribute, and the developer will contribute, to pay the stamp duties on each purchase. So let's assume that you're interested in a 2-bedroom apartment, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, car park and storage, and that property's a large property and it's costing us $640,000 thereabouts. We will pay the stamp duty, and that's a saving to you of $42,000. Understanding the stamp duty will be paid, it will be on your settlement sheet, so therefore that'll also be a deduction for you if you're an investor. Now, if you're a first home buyer, this property certainly qualifies for the Victorian government incentive programs, where you can have a $10,000 incentive from the government, and also you can have stamp duty concessions. So therefore, we, ParkTrent, and the developers don't need to pay the stamp duty, so we will contribute a $20,000 cash bonus to you on settlement of your first home buy. So you get the first home buyer's grant from the government, which is $10,000, get full stamp duty concession up to $600,000 purchase price, and then ParkTrent and Goldfields, the developer, will contribute $20,000 to you at settlement to help and assist you with furnishing your apartment. Now, as I said before, it's located in a fabulous hub. You have a transport right at your doorstep. You've got Darling Gardens right on your doorstep, which is a beautiful parklands, walkways, and that for the children. And then you're sitting very close, 2 minutes away from Lygon Street. And if you've been to Melbourne and enjoyed the fine dining in Lygon Street, it's just something very special. So I'd like to take your questions on this development, and I can tell you now the growth there over the years has been absolutely fabulous. In the capital growth and rental returns in Fitzroy over the last 20 years, and this is the facts from Residex reporting, has been in excess of 13.32% each year. So the rental and the capital growth on apartments have been in excess of 13% each year for the last 20 years. So that's not too bad. You know, you're getting 130%, 140% return over 20 years. The median house price in this area is well in excess of 1.2 million, 1.3 million, and the capital growth of houses in the area over the last 5 years has been better than 36%. So you're buying in a thriving area at a very good price, and also understanding that you've got the stamp duty concession. So we've got location's perfect, price point is superb, the configurations in the apartments are well designed. We've had a lot of input into the design of these apartments, and hallways are wide and plenty of natural light, plenty of flow through ventilation, and it's got not bolt-on air conditioning, it's got the air conditioning right through the apartments, which is central air conditioning, as we say, in the ceilings, and controlled. Each room is controlled. We've got this wonderful incentive program, and the facilities and the infrastructure all around the patch is just absolutely first class. As I say, you're close to everything. The tram's there, and you're only 9 minutes from the CBD of Melbourne. So if you have some questions, please send them through now, and I can endeavour to answer them for you, understanding that Stephanie's not here, but I'll do the best job I possibly can. Okay, and there's everything about this apartment that I've spoken about. It's just absolutely superb. Our property managers have been out there, they've done their assessments, and we're looking at somewhere in the order of around a 5% rental return. We now know there's huge demand for rental properties, quality properties in this area, understanding there's only 82 apartments in this building. Only 82 apartments. We don't have big pools of gymnasiums and that, and the body corporates are ranging from, for the one bedrooms, ranging between $1,300 to $1,400, and for the two bedrooms between $2,200 $2,500. That's the annual cost for them. So a two bedroom, the body corporate would be just on $600 a quarter, and the one bedrooms would be just sitting on $300 a quarter, $300 to $350 a quarter. So it's very economical. It's a quality building. It's built out of a strong structure. There's no cladding in this building at all. And this builder, we've worked with them for many, many years on a number of products, and they've all done very well for our clients. Not only do we enjoy excellent rentals, we have for substantial capital value increases in all the apartments that we've sold for them before. Now, Melbourne at the moment is currently enjoying the highest growth rate of any part of Australia. The city of Melbourne is actually growing at 2,850 people per week, 147,000 individuals moving into the state of Victoria each year, but 2,800 of them are located in and around this Melbourne CBD and the outer ring, which Fitzroy falls into that category. There's been over 1,000 new streets born in Victoria in the last 12 months, 30 new subdivisions. So it tells you that it's the hive of activity there right at this point of time. Also, what's important to understand is that the market right at this point in time has had a correction, and the property prices have come back. Sydney and Melbourne are by approximately 8 to 12%, depending on where the properties are. Now, what we're finding out now, and I've got some articles here from the 14th of March that I can share with you, and this is from the Australian Finance Review: abandoned or stalled $10 billion of projects incomplete. So what this means, on the 14th of March this year, they're talking about the Sydney and Melbourne market, which are the two largest markets in this country, Australia. And Melbourne in particular, designated over the last in the next 2 to 3 years, there was to be 36,000 new apartments come onto the marketplace. Well, that now has dropped down to just on 1,500. That's a 61% decline in properties coming onto the market, particularly in apartments. 61% down. It doesn't mean that we're stopping our migration. It doesn't mean to stopping our aging population. And it doesn't mean to say that the population of the city of Melbourne is growing so rapidly, because it's a magnet for migration from all around the world, because of the education facilities, the research facilities, the medical facilities that we've got in Victoria are second to none in the world. I'm fortunate enough to travel extensively in this country, and I've met professors from all over the globe at various airports that I visit, and they all tell me that Melbourne has got the cream of talent and the cream of equipment and government assistance programs for research facilities in the world, even more so than North America and the UK. So this is why Melbourne now is overtaking Sydney for growth pattern and also for investment. It's got everything we need. Unfortunately, there's a downside to that as well, and it's congestion. The traffic there is enormous, and anybody that lives in and around the city of Melbourne will experience what I experience when I visit there. But thankfully, because of the government there in Victoria, Dan Hendry's government, they're spending enormous amounts of money on infrastructure, and also the federal government has just pledged many billions of dollars to ease the congestion in Melbourne. This is wonderful. The congestion will be fixed over a period of time, but on the way through, it's going to create a massive amount of demand for labour, wages, also materials, the cost of manufacturing those materials, the concrete, the steel, and this concrete, steel, bricks, and anything that goes into building and whatever. All these things need to be manufactured, and guess what? They're manufactured in the outer ring of Victoria, and this is where all the jobs are, and this property fits right into that category there. It's a great opportunity, and what's the incentive? The incentive is that the stamp duty is paid for you. The pricing is 2.5 years old, so it's sitting there quite good value at the moment. The banks have valued them right at the purchase price. The purchase price that they're selling them for is actually in line with the bank valuations. And you can buy a beautiful 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 630, 640, no stamp duty. And understanding, if you wanted to buy a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom home in the area of Fitzroy North, you would be paying 1.3, 1.4, 1.5 million for them. So this is a great opportunity for you. I'm happy to take some questions if you have them.
Well, good afternoon, Ron. Yeah, we've had a few people come through from our email that we sent out to our extensive mailing list, which has been really good. So we've consolidated a bunch of them down so that we don't have to repeat ourselves too much.
I'm happy to repeat myself. I love talking, Ash. And to my many friends out there that watch me continuously, thank you so much for being part and supporting our programs.
There's been a lot of questions about infrastructure because, as you can imagine, a lot of the people that do tune into our programs are not necessarily going for first home. They know us for investment purposes. So what's big in infrastructure happening in the sort of locality at the moment?
In Victoria?
Yes.
Well, massive infrastructure that's never been thought of in the past. We have some of the largest infrastructure projects underway right at the minute. We have the metro, the rail metro system, which is linking up all the rail stations, South Yarra, Flinders Street, Spencer Street Station, all down through St Kilda Road. All those suburbs will be linked up with underground metro, similar to the metro, the tube in London. Not only that, is we've got future planning design from the last election. The Dan Andrews government has promised that they're going to put a train link out to Tullamarine Airport, and they're going to link all those towns around the Tullamarine Airport by rail, linked into Tullamarine back into the city. This is massive. When I go to Melbourne, and I tell you, I am so thrilled when I see the growth, other than the traffic, mind you. I'm not happy about the traffic. But when I go to places like Essington, which is next door to Fitzroy North, and I see Essington Fields and the business parks that they've got there, and the amount of people that are employed in the schools and the universities, La Trobe, RMIT, this is one of the most exciting places on the planet to live right at this point in time. And one of the things, Ash, just digressing from your question, is people tell me they buy properties for one reason alone, because they go up in value. Property purchasing is much more than going up in value. When you become a property investor, not your own dwelling, when you become a property investor, it creates a number of extra things for you and your family. It creates cash flows from the rentals, cash flows from the taxation benefits. I was doing a conference last night in Sydney, and I had about 70 to 80 people attending that conference, and I asked the question, why are you contemplating buying an investment property? And the standard answer came from the floor was because it goes up in value. It's far more than that. Can you imagine if you buy this 2-bedroom apartment in Fitzroy, in the patch there, and you're earning around, $65,000, paying $13,000 tax a year, you'll get $7,500, $8,000 of your tax back. Over 10 years, that's $10,000. Over 10 years, that's $80,000. $80,000 that you'll get back over 10 years of your tax. Now let's go back 10 years ago. You haven't got the $80,000. But in the next 10 years, if you do something and you get moving now, you can have that $80,000. That $80,000 comes into your personal bank account. It has to be a benefit. Any other questions?
Yeah, we've got a few coming through. We've actually come one from Stephanie in the live chat right now. What would you pay for a Sydney apartment 4 kilometres from the CBD compared to Patch being 4 kilometres from the CBD of Melbourne?
Well, is this from Stephanie, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, Stephanie, thank you for the question, and it's a good question. I can tell you now, and I just want to cover another aspect of this. We've just taken on a listing for a property in the CBD of Melbourne, and a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom property in the CBD, and the development is called Aspire. You might want to Google that yourself. The starting price for 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom in that property is just over, no car park mind you, is over $900,000. Now, to compare it to Chatswood in Sydney, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom car park, you'd be looking at $1.4 to $1.5 million. And importantly, on the Aspire, you're paying full stamp duty, and on the Chatswood property, you'll be paying full stamp duty as well. Now, on a $640,000 purchase in Melbourne, the stamp duty is over $42,000, which you will save. So it's enormous here. This is a wonderful opportunity. As I say, there's only 12 of them left. There's a mixture of 1-bedrooms, 2-bedrooms, and 1 or 2 3-bedrooms. And the 3-bedrooms get up to just on $1 million. I hope that answers your question.
Oh, sounds good. What's the ParkTrent investment process? It's a question that we get quite a lot via email.
Well, ParkTrent's investment process is that if you want to go to the next stage and organise the property inspection, we can arrange that for you. Our people can meet you there, can meet you at the airport if you're flying in from interstate, or we can come to your home and visit you whenever part of Australia in. We have consultants all over Australia come to your home. We have all this information. We have the various floor plans, the price list, and this incentive program. We'll have them all with you. Then if you want to proceed to purchase, initially you'll sign a contract with $1,000 deposit. Then within 14 days, we'll need to have a 10% deposit on it. Then we'll arrange the finance for you. Now, if it's going to be an investment property, if you so wish, we will manage the property for you and secure a tenant for you as well. Now, if it's a first home buyer situation, we will not only organise the finance for you, we'll organise the incentive programs from the government that you're entitled to, such as the stamp duty concessions and also the 10,000 first home buyers grant. We'll do that. And if you so wish to use solicitors that are on our panel, we'll pay the legal fees for you as well. And at settlement, we'll give you a cheque for $20,000. So it's a wonderful thing. So if you have some family members that are thinking about buying their first home, they want to live in close to Melbourne CBD, you can't get any closer than this, and understanding the price point is perfect, and we've got these wonderful incentives, it's something that maybe you should talk to them about, and then all they have to do is to come back to parktrent.com.au, and then we will send out the right information and the right people to talk to them to put the wheels in motion.
Well, I guess this is kind of a question from myself. It's just like, what is your personal stance on the upcoming election? What kind of impact do you think that will have on both first home buyers and potentially first home investors?
Well, this is from you, Ash, and I'm being bushwhacked here. Look, I've had a long life, and thanks for that. And through that long life, we've enjoyed many, many stable governments, some unstable governments. But do you know what? We've flourished through them. We've all survived through them. I can remember the good old days of Gough Whitlam, and it was wonderful. You know, he made many changes. And then we had the Keating and Hawke era, which was just absolutely fabulous. Then we came into John Howard and Peter Costello. Great timing. And then we've had some dysfunctional governments in the last few months, the Rudd, the Gillards, and the Malcolm Turnbulls, and Scott Morrison. I think Scott Morrison's maturing into the job. I think he's performing quite well. He's learnt a lot in a short period of time. I think he needs to be given a go, but also I can accept the fact that if Labor's the next government, we'll work with the Labor government. They've got to learn a few things about property investment. They need to stop meddling in it. They need to let the market find its own levels, and also be out there and understand that when you give incentive programs, and we've had a number of them over many, many years, such as the National Rental Affordability Scheme, which ParkTrent supported from the very inception of that program. We thought it was wonderful, and we've sold over 2,000 of these properties under that scheme. Unfortunately, it was corrupted in the end by people taking the incentive programs and not building the buildings, but selling those incentive programs on and making a profit. I exposed that to the government at the time, and in a short period of time, the all scheme was cancelled. Now, one of the things I don't like about Labor is they're going to go down the pathway of a similar scheme. It's an $8,500 a year incentive to an investor to buy an affordable housing and rent it at 20% less than market rents. That will do nothing for the rental market. It will do nothing for an investor, because as soon as those products are identified with having that incentive attached to them, the prices will increase. So, Mr. Shorten, please don't go down that pathway. Let us find our own levels. Talk to us, the people in the industry. We'll tell you what you need to do to bring the housing affordability closer to people so that they can afford it. My suggestion is, whatever happens, we will have to work in that parameter and the conditions, but I certainly hope that I start listening to the people that know what the marketplace is doing.
Oh, sounds very good. Thanks very much. There's a couple of questions that have come through, just like in terms of directly to the patch, are additional car spaces available? If so, what kind of costs are expected for that?
Yeah, good question, Ash, and we wish there were additional car spaces available. Unfortunately, there's not, and if you could buy them, I would say they would be probably in the excess of $100,000 per car park, but there's none available. It's not just saying that somebody that buys an apartment would not wish to sell that their space over. We can inquire that. We've got a number of sales in there, and maybe some people would like to cash out part of that apartment by moving the car space to somebody else. But to give you an idea, what's important about this development, in the Aspire one that I've just talked to you about, the 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, no car park in the city of Melbourne, they're $900,000. There's actually 500 apartments in that building and only 83 car parks. Because Patch at North Fitzroy is so well located to the tram directly opposite, the train station, Clifton train station is just next door. You don't need a car. And if you do need a car for that weekend trip to go and see mum and the kids or whatever, you can hire a car and they're quite cheap. Every suburb now in Melbourne has the get-up cars where you can just go to that spot, get in that car and drive it for half a day and then park it back. That's the most economical way. In most cases, you don't need a car park. I have apartments in Melbourne that I bought many, many years ago, and I can tell you now, most of my tenants don't have a car. I have the car park sitting there separately. I do rent them out to other people, but it's not a contingency on renting your apartment to have a car park. But every one of these apartments in this building, in the patch, does have a car park.
What's your experience with Goldfields in the past? Are you confident with the quality of product?
Yes, very good, and it's important, and it's more important for ParkTrent to be involved with people that deliver reasonably close to the timeline that we've been promised, and also the quality, because we want to sell properties that we can rent and people are proud of, and also they have capital value increase. This is the third such project that we've been involved with Goldfields. Everything else has worked tremendously well with them, and I'm very confident about this one. I've actually been around, walked in front of it now. The quality is looking good, and I don't think we're going to have an issue with renting them at all. And then what we need to have is a sound body corporate to keep the building upgraded all the time. And as I said, the body corporate fees are quite reasonable because we have no indoor pool, we have no gymnasium, etc. So this is a wonderful project for you to get started.
Another question that we got quite a lot via email, because some people aren't necessarily aware, especially if you're going in for your first purchase, but strata fees, what exactly are they, what do they cover, and what are the first purchaser looking to outlay in that regard?
A good question. The question is strata fees, what do they cover? Well, first and foremost, what does the strata fee cover? It covers the insurance in the building and covers the wellness of the building, such as the foyers, the lifts, everything else, and also maintenance such as putting the garbage bins out on the basis that every week that they're out there and put them away. keeping everything in order. Also, they have a role there, and when you have a body corporate, you set up a management committee, owners corporate committee. And I would recommend that if you're not on that committee and you're living interstate and you're buying, then elect ParkTrent to do your visit those meetings for you so that we can sit in on those meetings. It's so important that when you have a body corporate in there, that they have attention to detail, the foyers, the lifts, everything must be spotlessly clean and upgraded. Because when you have a house in the suburbs, you have to make sure the lawns are mowed, the trees are cut, all this type of thing, the fencing is right. It's the same with the body corporate in an apartment. The better it's kept, the higher the rent you get and the more capital growth you'll get. Also, the body corporate and the owners corporate have a responsibility to make sure that the tenancies in there are behaving themselves and doing the right thing. And that comes down to loud music, noise, pets, etc. Also, even down to the point of having a car in the garage that's leaking oil. All those things are controlled by a strong body corporate. So I don't mind paying body corporate fees. They're tax deductible, but also it's looking after my investment, your investment, and that's so important.
Just a follow-up question on that strata. It's just like, what kind of is there like a monetary value that you can kind of assign to that? What are people sort of expecting to put out?
For the monetary value for the strata fees, well, for the one bedroom, there's between $1,500 and $1,800 per year. So you divide that, it's paid quarterly. And for the two bedroom, it's between $2,000 and $2,500 per year, and you divide that quarterly. So it's $630 for a two bedroom per quarter, and it's about $370, $380 for a one bedroom per quarter. Money well spent, and also remember, it's tax deductible, which is so important. So not only are you getting your building enhanced and looked after, the tax is helping you pay for that. It's a wonderful thing that we should not forget. And if you have a home in the suburbs, you've got to mow the lawns, you've got to do the painting, you've got to do this, you've got to do the upgrade, you've got to watch the fences, and etc. This is all done for you. Strong owners management committees are the key. Be involved. If you can't be, get ParkTrent to represent you on the board. Give us the authority to do that.
Oh, sorry, just having a bit of a look through. Ron.
Now we have some more questions. We're just going through them right now. Keep them coming, folks. Try and stomp me.
We've got one here on vacancy rates in the area, and it sort of ties in with this question here. It's like, how does the development's prices compare with others in the same neighbourhood, especially when you've got vacancy rates less than 1%? What's making it that much more popular?
Well, it's because of the schools, the universities that are there, and the vacancy rates. The question is good. What is the vacancy rate? It's around 1%. In the city, it's Melbourne CBD, it's just over 2%. In Melbourne, in Sydney, it's over 2%. Quite comfortable 2%, that's not an issue. So what controls this is the schools around it, the parklands, the walkways, the shopping centres, all around it. And remember, the tram's at your doorstep. And the vacancy factor is quite good. Now, you're asked about pricing. The median apartment price in this area is around, for a two bedroom, is $600,000. These are $630,000, $640,000, understanding that's the median price, so it takes in consideration older type apartments that have been sold. These are brand new, and you've got the stamp duty savings there for you as well. And also, if you're a first home buyer, you've got the stamp duty savings, the $10,000 government grant, the $20,000 from ParkTrent, and also the free legals.
So if someone was interested to take up on one of these offers in terms of either investment or first home buyers, what do they do now? What's the next step, and what's the sort of process from there? How long does it sort of take?
Well, if they log on to parktrent.com.au, it'll go straight to customer service, and straight away they'll pick up the phone, they'll talk to you and find out exactly what you want. They'll send out the information to you, and from that then we can actually send a consultant to your home, never mind where you are. They love to travel, my people. Come to your home, they'll have all this information, they'll have all the floor plans. You can actually reserve one there subject to you inspecting the property, going down. And if you go down and you're serious about it, we'll even pay your flights down to Melbourne and your accommodation. Stay overnight, our people look after you down there, and hopefully we can do some business for you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think the questions have stopped coming through, have they? There's no other questions. Well, I'd like to thank you so much, and particularly for our people that log in every time that I'm on these webinars. It's great. I do have a bit of the flu today, so forgive my voice, but it's been a pleasure to be with you again, and I hope they've instilled in you the opportunity for you to become involved in property investments. Remembering this, if there's a change in government, and there could well be, the circumstances for property investors are going to change dramatically. If Labor follows through with their commitment, they are going to stop negative gearing on established dwellings, units and homes. They will also change, which is a frightening one, the capital gains tax discount. Understanding if we sell an investment property now, or some shares, or an antique car, or some artwork, and we make a profit of, say, $100,000. Currently, under the current arrangements, we will pay tax only on $50,000 of that 100. So if our taxable income is $50,000 in that year that we sell that investment, we now have a taxable income of $100,000. Under Labor's changes, our taxable income will go up to $125,000. We will pay tax on $75,000 of the $100,000. Now, these changes are set in concrete, they're going to happen, and they will become effective from the 1st of January 2020. It will not affect any one of us that are already investing, or any of us that do the investments right now. We will stay at the old rules. So there's some serious urgency becoming involved in property investment right now, and understanding property investment is not about it just going up in value. Property investment is about harnessing the cash flows from the rental, from the taxation, linking them with your current home loan. That cash flows will reduce your home loan mortgage substantially. Let us show you how it works. We will save you, I guarantee you, many, many thousands of dollars on your home loan. So book an appointment or do a Skype appointment, whatever you wish. We're here to look after you. If we can show you how this works, I'm sure you'll confidently move forward to buy this property, or if not this property, you'll buy a property. My wish is that you buy a property of anyone, but particularly of ParkTrent. Thank you so much.